Welcome back. The president just making some news on the defense industry, and this time it has nothing to do with Greenland. Let's get over to Eamon Javers with the news. Eamon?
Kelly, that's right. The president just posting on social media targeting defense contractors, saying he wants military equipment for the United States and its allies produced in larger numbers and much faster. The president says in order to do that, he's going to ban stock buybacks and he's going to limit executive compensation for defense firms. Here's what the president said on social media just a short time ago. He says, "I will not permit dividends or stock buybacks for defense companies until such time as these problems are rectified. Likewise, for salaries and executive compensation. Military equipment is not being made fast enough. It must be built now with dividends, stock buybacks, and overcompensation of executives rather than borrowing from financial institutions or getting the money from your government. Longer term, this is good for both executives and shareholders because it will be great for our country." The president, in this lengthy social media post, saying that the executives of the defense companies are simply making too much money. He says until they do so, that is, build the military equipment faster, no executive should be allowed to make in excess of $5 million, which, as high as it sounds, is a mere fraction of what they're making now. So a really pointed social media post here aimed at the defense sector. You heard the president complain about this as recently as the past 48 hours, in which he's talked about some of the military equipment used in the operation in Venezuela and complaining that the U.S. defense sector takes years in some cases to build particular aircraft and other items that were used in that raid on Friday night. He wants that whole timetable sped up dramatically, and he says he's going to limit the ability of those executives to get paid high salaries and the compensation and stock buybacks as well. So we'll watch for the particulars of this. Exactly how is the president going to enforce this? That's left unsaid here. Presumably this is some change to federal contracting. He could change the terms of federal contracts for these defense contractors to include these carve-outs and prohibitions. We'll see what the White House has to say on the details of it.
Yeah, Eamon, I said, this time it doesn't have anything to do with Greenland, but does it on some level? In other words, the president expressing his frustration with the equipment used in Venezuela and kind of suggesting that the defense industry do more with its plans and equipment for what purpose, right? He doesn't answer that question, but it does make you wonder, if he's looking with an eye towards, again, future involvement, future cases in which the U.S. might need to make need of that.
Yeah, and that's why you build military equipment and why you build it at a fast pace. The president has said, time and time again that the defense industry is too slow. He often praises American military know-how and hardware. He also often praises the technological accomplishments of American military material, but he also complains frequently about how long it takes to build some of these things, and noting at one point that some of these airplanes take longer to build than it took the United States to win World War II, right? So in any kind of stepped-up confrontation, you would need the ability to mass produce things at an industrial scale that the United States, in his view, just doesn't have right now.